Blessed be everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are talking about shadow work and taking that journey into the darker recesses of our subconscious mind, because that's all shadow work is. Before we do though, I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com, author of Crafting Your Wiccan Path. If you want to know more about Wicca and witchcraft, shadow work, tarot, magic, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. If you are interested in shadow work and you want to know more about it, I have a free video called How to Heal Your Shadow Through Balancing Your Energy Centers. And this is shadow work and how it affects your chakras. So there's a link to that video in the description field below this video. So I've done a lot of videos on shadow work. I haven't done one for a while, so I thought I would do one now. And I always define shadow work as that deep dive into the subconscious mind and what's in there. Beliefs, fears, insecurities, desires, all sorts of things. There can be positive things and negative things in there. So it's not all about the dark, nasty stuff. There's also other stuff in there too that's in the shadow that we should really be putting out there that we're not. Because of these, beliefs and insecurities that are lurking in there. The shadow is also those parts of us that we don't want to acknowledge we have, that we disown about ourselves and even deny that we have. And there's some really easy ways to find out what those things are. So shadow work does require courage, because we do have to acknowledge things we don't want to acknowledge about ourselves, and we have to confront the fears that we don't want to confront and the insecurities that we don't want to confront. The shadow part of ourselves is that unconscious part of ourselves, and it really is about what we're not aware of. We kind of just act on it. We do it. Maybe it's habits or the way that we handle conflict or the way that we do things. We're not really aware of that we're doing them. Or why? Because it's all in the subconscious mind. So that's the shadow. It's what we're not aware of when it comes to ourselves. When it comes to a spiritual path, whether that be Wicca or anything, it's about becoming more aware of who we are, know thyself, wanting to know who and what we truly are. And so shadow work plays an important role in this. Now, when I was going through Wiccan covens back in the 90s, shadow work was not a part of what we did. But I am aware that there are some covens and some traditions that incorporate shadow work into their second degree. So some have it, some don't. I have found shadow work to be incredibly important on the spiritual path, but it's also a very big journey, and it takes you more than a year and a day to do it. It takes you a lifetime, really, to do it in a way. But it is very much a part of really truly growing into who you truly are and realizing how powerful a being you are, and that a lot of what you've been told about yourself and a lot of what you've been told about the world isn't true, especially when it comes to the magical spiritual aspects. So the role of shadow work in a Wiccan practice or any spiritual practice is for balance. It's to bring balance back to ourselves, to balance, find that equilibrium between the two polarities of the sort of the known side of ourselves and the unknown, and the qualities that we would deem as good and the qualities that we would deem as not good, and bringing a sense of equilibrium to this so that we can function more, so that we can do the things we really want to do, be who you truly are in the world. Be creative, express yourself in the world the way that you really feel deep down inside you're meant to. Sometimes the shadow is so strong that you may find you don't know what you're doing here, that you don't feel you have a purpose, that you feel very, very lost and very disconnected from spirit. It's like, I don't know what I want to do. That is a good time to start shadow work, because there's a lot of beliefs and assumptions that are actually clouding your third eye chakra and stopping you from being able to see what it is that you've come here to do and to explore and to create. So when you haven't done shadow work, it can really create a sense of disconnection from spirit and disconnection from self. So how can you do this deep dive into your unconscious to find out what's going there? Well, the first thing is to accept that you have a shadow side to begin with. A lot of us don't want to accept that. If you've been brought up in religion, a lot of religions are very black and white in their thinking, that this is good, this is bad, and you've got to do the good stuff and you can't do the bad stuff. And so we end up wanting to deny we've got the bad stuff because it's not good to have the bad stuff. And if you have the bad stuff, that means you can't be a spiritual good person. So let's just pretend we don't have the bad stuff, or let's suppress it. And when you suppress the shadow, it's like holding a beach ball under the water. As soon as you let go of your hand, it bounces right back up. That's what happens with the shadow, is you can only suppress it for so long before it bounces up and shows its ugly head into the light of day. And that's where we end up getting into arguments and getting into trouble, ruining reputations, saying things we didn't mean to say, doing things we didn't mean to do, and all of those sorts of things. So we try to want to not do that so much, and when we're trying to discover who we are, really be more authentic in our lives. So one of the ways you can do this is just through reflection. If you find that you're being inhibited towards doing something you'd love to do, so this is a passion you'd love to follow in a very productive way, a creative gift that you have you'd like to put out into the world, or you'd like to even just explore for yourself. You don't necessarily have to put it out in the world, but you find there's something stopping you from doing that, then that would be a good indication of going into your shadow and finding out what the beliefs are about your ability to do that thing. Because there'll be beliefs there that are saying you're either not good enough, you're too young, you're too old, you're too this, you're too that. Oh, what will so-and-so say if I do that? Oh, if I really do step into doing this that I really want to do, who will I be? If I really do get into magic, for example, and I really do explore my ability to co-create with the universe, and I end up being able to create the life I'd really love to create, who will I be? Will that change me? I won't be the same person, and that can all be very, very scary for the ego because it wants to hold on to what it's known. That's time to go into shadow work and find out what the beliefs are that are saying it's not safe to do that. Another aspect of shadow work, and this is where you can find those aspects of yourself that you're denying. When you're denying something in yourself, it actually shows itself. And it may show itself to other people, but you won't see it because you're denying you have it within yourself. And sometimes you'll overcompensate. So to stop yourself from feeling that you've got any of that shadow quality in you, you'll go and always do the opposite. So for example, if you're somebody that despises selfishness, for example, you may find that you're somebody who just gives. And sometimes there might be a bit of resentment around that because you may not be receiving it, because you're not connected to that part of you that is saying, no, I'm not giving anymore, or I'm only giving this, or I'm only giving this much to this thing or this person. Self-care, basically. You don't have that ability to take care or boundaries around your own, what you need for yourself, and taking what you need for yourself. Instead, you feel you've got to give it all away and not have any for yourself. If you can't stand certain types of people, for example, you might say, oh, I can't stand arrogant people. That's an indication that you're not in touch with your own inner arrogance, that you're denying you've got an arrogant bone in your body. And you may behave in ways that appear to be the opposite of arrogance, like being really so humble that you never get to share who you are with anybody. You never talk about the things that you're good at. And that can actually stifle you from being able to do the things you want to do in your life. It can stifle you from promoting yourself in the world if you want to have a particular career in the world. It can stop you from putting yourself out there in the world because there's this false humility there. Another thing with arrogance is that there's a gift in arrogance, and that is confidence. So where is the confident you? Often people who have an objection to arrogance actually lack a lot of self-confidence. And when they see someone who's quite confident, they will think they're arrogant But it's not, that person may not be arrogant at all. They're just an incredibly confident person. And so the lesson with arrogance, if you're somebody who has a thing about arrogance, look for the times when you've been maybe arrogant in the past. And is it possible that you could be arrogant again in the future? And what's the gift in arrogance? What is it that arrogant people get out of being arrogant? You know, it's a confidence thing. So it's looking for, how do I become more confident in myself? How can I own that part of me that's very confident? And so that when I say no, I mean no. You know, confident in my beliefs, confident in who I am. Where is that person? And when you start to look at that, you'll find that you'll no longer be bothered by arrogance. It won't bother you at all. And if somebody tells you you're being arrogant, you'll be able to go, okay, that's how they feel. Then I'm tapping into that arrogant part of myself. It won't bother you if somebody accuses you of being something. I mean, you may sometimes get overconfident and a bit arrogant with something, and then you could admit that you're being arrogant and it won't affect you. It won't cause shame. It won't cause guilt. It'll just make you aware that you've been arrogant in that situation. You learn from it and you move on. So you're not getting attached to, oh, I don't want people to think I'm arrogant. I don't want people to think I'm selfish. I don't want people to think that I'm narcissistic. You get to the point where you don't care what other people think of you, because you've been down your shadow and you've seen all of it and you know it's all there. And when somebody accuses you of being something, you go, yeah, I've already seen it. I know it's there. You know, tell me something new. You can also use visualization to understand what's going on in your shadow as well, particularly when it comes to insecurities. If you're doing magic and you're struggling with a particular type of magic, so maybe it's relationship magic or money magic, if you really can sit down and imagine yourself, if you say to yourself, what would I feel? You know, what would it feel like to be in a wonderful, loving relationship? Or what would it feel like to have all of the money I need, and I'm living in this place that I want to live in, and I'm doing the things I want to do? What would that feel like? And there may be an aspect of that that feels really good, but there may be an aspect of that that doesn't feel so good. There may be guilt coming in or shame coming in, and it's catching that guilt and catching that shame, or catching the disbelief in the possibility that you could even have any of that. That's shadow work, because all of those beliefs are actually not true. You do have the ability to have what you want. It's a magical truth. You have the ability to co-create, but it's these beliefs that are actually stopping you from being able to manifest. And I know that from my own experience with money magic, that it has a lot to do with our beliefs about ourselves and the world, beliefs about money. And it can sometimes take quite a bit of work to really iron out what those beliefs are, so that you can actually have a prosperous life in the way that you want to have it, or have that relationship that you want to have. So the shadow work's really important for understanding what's stopping you, essentially. Magic's all about visualization, putting ourselves in the scenario of already having what it is that we want. And if you think of how many times you put yourself in the opposite of what you want in your imagination, you know, you totally focus on what you don't have, focusing on what's going wrong in your life, focusing on worrying, that's where most of the energy's going. So you don't want to keep creating that. You want to flip that. And magic is about bringing the things in that you want to bring in to your life. You can use spells to help you with shadow work. I have a new course that's coming out in hopefully a couple of weeks, where you can do spells to banish negative beliefs. So you can bring spell work into your shadow work. And if you find any negative beliefs or anything, you can start doing spell work to get the ball rolling to remove those beliefs. A spell's not going to remove them completely. It's going to probably cause you to find a way of removing them that is more effective, such as EFT or energy healing, hypnotherapy, that kind of thing. But a spell can really get the ball rolling and help put you in touch with the tools that you really need to rid yourself or change these beliefs and transform them into beliefs that actually help you You can use tarot for shadow work. There's so many cards in the tarot that can help you understand what your motivation is for something, where something's coming from, what's inhibiting you, where you're stuck, and how to get free. So tarot is great to use for shadow work. You can use crystals to help you with your shadow work as well, like obsidian, for example, a great crystal to work with for shadow work, because it will help you go down into the subconscious mind and can help you clear those beliefs and change those beliefs that aren't working for you as well. And you can use herbs to help you with that too. A lot of the herbs that can help put you into a trance state can help you get in touch with your subconscious mind. You can work with herbs that can help you energetically change your beliefs. So mugwort, for example, if you're wanting herbs that can just help put you into a nice, calm, relaxed state, you could work with chamomile, you could work with star anise, or any of those relaxing herbs that can help put you into a more relaxed state. Anything that helps you relax and gets you into the alpha wave state will help you connect to your subconscious mind. There's other techniques you can use to change your beliefs, like reframing, affirmations, NLP, all those tools as well you can use to work with those negative beliefs. I personally like to work with EFT or tapping. That's emotional freedom technique. I find that works so well for me. I've even developed some techniques within that modality that kind of combines it with the sort of the shamanic releasing energy from your ancestors' past lives, DNA and everything, that works so effectively for negative beliefs. So if you're interested in that, certainly you can work with me one-on-one with that, or go over to Sandra Inman Tapping. That's actually a channel on YouTube. It's called, so if you go to @Sandra Inman Tapping, you will see my tapping channel and all of the things that I've done with tapping over the years as well. So there's lots of ways that you can change these beliefs, and when you do, it will totally change your life. It will make you more confident, it will make you more grounded, and it will help you become really more efficient with your energy, so that you give the energy when you can, and when you can't, you know that you can't, and you look after yourself as well as also helping other people at the same time. So there's some things that you can do. I've also got a course in shadow work called the Wheels of Empowerment. So this is a course in shadow work which uses emotional freedom technique on tapping with the chakras. So that's called the Wheels of Empowerment. You can have a look at that. There's a link in the description field below this video. It'll take you to my website and it'll give you a lot of information about how you can use tapping and the chakras to work through beliefs at each chakra level that are keeping you stuck. So do have a look at that. If you like the video, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. I am Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com. Blessed be.